Radharan Mati, when are you ready? You can start, Mati, now.
Yeah, sure, Vijay. Hare Krishna to all dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishriki. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5. Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. Text 21. Narada Muni continued, my dear King Yudhishthira, Hiranyakashipu seated Prahlad Maharaj on his lap and began smelling his head, with affectionate tears gliding down from his eyes and moisturizing the child's smiling face. He spoke to his son as follows. Text 22. Hiranyakashipu said, my dear Prahlad, my dear son, O long lived one, for so much time you have heard many things from your teachers. Now please repeat to me whatever you think is the best of that knowledge. Text 23 and 24. Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name from qualities, paraphernalia, and the pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of Lord, offering the Lord respectable worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him. In other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These nine processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these nine methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge. Text 25. After hearing these words of devotional service from the mouth of his son Prahalad, Hiranyakashipu was extremely angry, his lips trembling. He spoke as follows to Sananda, the son of his guru Sukracharya. Text 26. O unqualified, most heinous son of a Brahmana, you have disobeyed my orders and taken shelter of the party of my enemy. You have taught this poor boy about the devotional service. What is this nonsense? Text 27. In due course of time, various types of diseases are manifested in those who are sinful. Similarly, in this world, there are many descriptive friends in the false grab, but eventually, because of their false behavior, their actual enmity becomes manifest. Text 28. The son of Sukracharya, Hiranyakashipu's spiritual master, said, O enemy of King Indra, O king, whatever your son Prahalad has said was not taught to him by me or anyone else. His spontaneous devotional service has naturally developed in him. Therefore, please give up your anger and do not unnecessarily accuse us. It is not good to insult a Brahmana in this way. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mati. Hare Krishna. Yeah, Sri Krishna Prabhu, when you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Sundaram Prabhu. Thank you, Radharani Mataji, for reading the translation today. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगम शिक्षाष्टमेकं पुरुष पुराणं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपाम्बदत्तमहं प्रपद्ये हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are seeing this section where Prahlad Maharaj, who is Hiranyakashipu's son and Kayadu's son. Now, Prahlad Maharaj is how Prahlad Maharaj is being taught by the family guru of uh, Hiranyakashipu. So there are two types of guru that is described here by Srila Prabhupada. So one, the family guru, Kula guru, and the other guru who is giving the transcendental knowledge. So in this case, Prahlad Maharaj got the transcendental knowledge through Narada Muni while he was in the womb of Kayadu. Now is Kulaguru, who is the family teacher, Sukracharya's son Sandanamarka. They are being appointed by his father to teach him about Dharma, Artha, and Kama. So how to perform religion, and how to earn wealth, and how to use that wealth for sense gratification through political ways and the ways of diplomacy. So he's trying to teach his son so that he's kind of seeing his son as a lineage to rule over after him. So that is what Hiranyakashipu's thinking was. So here Prahlad Maharaj, we can see he's a Mahabhagavat devotee. So he was in the womb of Kayadu. He understood the entire bhakti process through Narada Muni, and he is fully on the Smaranam platform. He's always remembering the Lord. Uh, so now in this chapter we can see that Prahlad Maharaj, and we are seeing from verse number 21. So now Hiranyakashipu appointed these two teachers so that Prahlad Maharaj can be taught in the path of diplomacy and economical development, sense gratification, how to rule over the kingdom by chastising the opponents. So basically all the uh, so that was his thought. But then Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj was not at all interested in any of these, but he want to try again and see how these teachers can change his heart. So now starting from verse number 21, today we are seeing. So again, this was the second time that Sanda Namarka they tried to teach Prahlad Maharaj about this diplomacy and politics. So they try to teach him in many ways. So now the verse number 21, we can see that. So in Hiranyakashipu, they brought him back to Hiranyakashipu that now we think that your son is sufficiently being taught in the all of these principles of diplomacy and politics and all the about how to rule over the kingdom. So we think he is sufficiently taught. So then they bring him in front of Hiranyakashipu. So now, as a father, he is keeping Prahlad Maharaj on his lap, and he's asking. So he's asking that. um, so, before this, Prahlad Maharaj is offering obeisances at his father's feet. So now he is very affectionately taken Prahlad Maharaj, he sat him on his lap. So, and then he is asking, it is also mentioned that Hiranyakashipu, there was tears of love flowing from his eyes. So we can see that is looking at his child face, and he's kind of, that Vatsalya Bhava is coming out. Now he is asking, "Oh, my dear son, what have you learned? What is the best that you have learned out of the knowledge that you have learned from your teachers?" So here we can see that an affectionate father is always reciprocating with his son, and Hiranyakashipu, there is in one aspect of when Prabhupada was explaining about love, he used to explain that even the tigers, they love their cubs. So in a way to explain what love is. So there is everyone's heart. There is that Krishna Bhakti inside. So that Krishna Bhakti has to be evoked by Shravanam and Kirtanam. So there is a verse also. It says that it's in the form of covered. So just like sunrise, when sun rises, everything, all the darkness dissipates. Similarly, when the bhakti is evoked by Shravanam and Kirtanam, then the heart, the loving propensity for the Lord is reinstated inside. So now Hiranyakashipu is showing his love and affection towards his child, Prahlad. And now Hiranyakashipu Vacha, so he is questioning what is the best thing that you have learned. So now Prahlad Maharaj is replying, this is the first, so the best out of all knowledge, what Prahlad Maharaj considers is the Navaveda Bhakti that can be offered to the Lord. So it's a very nice verse. Sri Prahlada Vacha, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Achanam Vandanam Dashyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam Iti Pumsharpita Vishnu Bhaktischain Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Adhatan Manye Aditam Uttamam. So Prahlad Maharaj says, Aditam Uttamam, he says Pumsarpita Vishnu. So, offering all these 9 kinds of Navalakshana, 9 kinds of devotional practices at the for the benefit, for worshipping, for attaining Vishnu, towards Vishnu, and he says that is the Aditam Uttamam. So Uttamam is the topmost. So and then there are many particular Sanskrit words that emphasizes different aspects of how this is performed. No, so now Prabhupada elaborates detailed in each one of these processes. There are 9 processes that Prahlad Maharaj mentions, starting with Shravanam, Kirtanam. So here, so there are some key terms that are used. So Prabhupada emphasizes on these key terminologies. So one is that word Adha. So Adha, Prabhupada explains that there are 2 ways one can actually worship the Lord. One can follow this process. One is being pious, and then being pious, offering that results to Krishna. That is uh, indirect way of offering worshipping Krishna. So the other way is a direct way of worshipping Krishna, or direct way of performing bhakti. That is directly considering that Lord is my maintainer, Lord is my uh, sustainer, and He is the shelter, and then offering directly the love and devotion directly to the Lord, without just considering pious activities, or indirectly offering the results of pious activities on the bhakti platform. So there are so in essence, Prabhupada wants us to do direct devotional service, um, uh, offering our heart to Krishna. So that is in essence, that is what he's emphasizing. So kriyate means one should perform, like kriya, like it's like a effort that we have to perform. So in each of these aspects of bhakti is the emphasis on the purity. So the purity is basically that Narada Pancharatra and Rupa Goswami also says that Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam. So the Jnana and Karma, the mixture should not be there. One should be offering bhakti in a pure platform. So in each of these aspects, angas of bhakti, the processes of bhakti should be done by body, mind, and words. So karmana, manasa, and vacha. So all three aspects. So without, sometimes like Prabhupada explains that sometimes someone will engage in fruitive activity and then take that results and offer to Vishnu. That is considered indirect. So direct way of offering is by this karmana, manasa and vacha, we should offer our bhakti directly to Vishnu for our basically to establish that relationship and also to relish the exchange of love between the Lord and devotees. So now Prabhupada basically considers that sincere endeavor, is more important. Is technically is calling that the sincere endeavor to perform these 9 processes of devotional service is technically called bhakti. So this is another definition of bhakti. Prabhupada is giving that. So in these 9 processes, we just have to sincerely endeavor to please the Lord. So and also directly perform these activities for the pleasure of Krishna. So, and then Prabhupada elaborates in each of these aspects of bhakti, is very nicely elaborating. So we'll just start from Shravanam. So now Shravanam is either hearing the holy name of the Lord is the beginning. Like there is a verse, it says that Atas Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhavad Grahayam Indriyaha Sevan Mukhi Hi Jivado Spuramevi Spurati Adaha. So Atas Sri Krishna Nama Adi. So beginning from the name, we start the bhakti by chanting the name, vibrating the name. So the senses, when we engage the tongue in the chanting the holy name, then the Lord reveals himself to us. So similarly in the Shravanam, the first aspect of hearing is the holy name. And then, so although any of these 9 processes are individually powerful, so these are, Prabhupada elaborates, it's a hierarchical way. So the Shravanam comes first, and then Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam comes next, and then Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam. Like that, it comes in a hierarchical way. But then even if one process we just fix up our heart, and one process if we could fully dedicate, that itself is sufficient for the perfection. So there is no need to but the first 3, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So these are the foundational processes that one should one must take to, and then the other aspects of other processes, Prabhupada explains that any one of them, perfection would actually take us back to Godhead. So now in the Shravanam, we can understand that this is the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to say that Cheto Darpana Marjanam, like purifying the heart by chanting the holy name of the Lord. So it is basically when we are chanting, we are also hearing. So the Shravanam is hearing about the Lord, reading about the Lord. It is the first step in order to understand about the Lord Himself. So that's why in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, there are many verses the Lord Himself speaks about Himself, so that we can understand, how the Lord the manifests in this material world, what is His tattva and all that. So hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the most important process of hearing, Shravana. So, so Srimad Bhagavatam, talks about the Lord's pastimes, Lord's characteristics, Lord's qualities, all of these are in many incarnations of the Lord, like Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, Vamana. So all those pastimes, when one hears, then is sufficiently perfecting his life by the process of Shravanam. So in the Shravanam, there are a lot of details that Prabhupada deep dives into, but then the aspect of um, Shravanam is we should hear such literatures where transcendental glories of Lord is glorified exclusively, like Srimad Bhagavatam. So the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a one verse, it says, Tat Vishargo Janataga Viplava. So this transcendental literature, when it is Shravanti, Gayanti, Grananti Sadhavaha. So when it heard by great devotees, even though the literature may have grammatical mistakes or other language corrections, but still it is glorifying Namani Anantasya Yasho Ankitayan. So it is glorifying the Supreme Lord exclusively, and therefore it is perfect literature. So that is the only consideration. So any literature, if we hear Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, it has to be exclusively glorifying the Supreme Lord. So one after one has sufficiently heard, chanted the holy name, heard Srimad Bhagavatam, then comes the Kirtanam part. So in the Kirtanam, now how when we chant, we are also hearing. So in the Kirtanam includes Shravanam. So it has both benefits of Shravanam and Kirtanam. But without hearing about the Lord, we cannot speak. So that's why one has to be sufficiently hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from the book Bhagavata or the person Bhagavata. So now in the Kirtanam part, now we can, there are many things that Prabhupada mentions. The essence is, in this Kali Yuga, the holy name really works like a magic. So in this, so Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam, Kalo nastyeva, nastyeva gatiranyataha. So that is why the Kirtanam part also Prabhupada emphasized the chanting of the holy name gives all perfection. So it can, all other processes like sacrifice, yajna, and then dana like charity, tapaha, kriya. So all other processes are not at all possible in this age. And therefore the holy name chanting is the best way in this age. One can get perfection in the Kirtanam. Of course, we can glorify, there are many offenses, but especially Prabhupada emphasize on the 10 offenses against the holy name of the Lord. So we all know the 10 offenses from Padma Puran. One has to contemplate on them and make sure that we are consciously avoiding those 10 offenses, so that we can progress in the bhakti by chanting every day. We can progress in the bhakti platform. So and then if somebody is feeling that they are actually performing offenses, there is no other way to counteract the offenses for the holy name, and there is only way is to take shelter of the holy name deeply. So one has to chant again, continuously, so that he is pure, coming pure of the offenses. So there are counteraction for the deity worship. If anybody does offenses, Prabhupada mentions that one has to chant one full chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and he has to recite Vishnu Sahasranam. Then the offenses will be counteracted. But the holy name, offenses against the holy name, he said there is no other way. The only way is to take full shelter of the holy name by continuously chanting. So that is why we have to consciously think about how we can take shelter of the holy name deeply. How we can relish the holy name. We can really take shelter of the holy name. That way we can counteract these 10 offenses. So, and then there are other processes that Prabhupada talks about, like the third one, Smaranam. So, after one is sufficiently did Shravanam and then sufficiently did Kirtanam, then comes the meditation part, remembering the Lord. So, the Smaranam is one after one is completely cleansed in the heart, then the Smaranam part comes. The heart has to be cleansed, and that he is mentioning one verse from Sukadeva Goswami. He says that even great yogis who have completely renounced all material connections, so they all akuta bayam yoginam nirpa nirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. So they constantly chant the holy name of the Lord. So, because they were able to sufficiently cleanse by Shravanam Kirtanam, now they are able to remember the Lord. So, the main aspects of remembering is Prabhupada is elaborating as basically the highest stage is Samadhi or trance, where one can remember the Lord constantly. So, in order to achieve this state, there are five different ways that Prabhupada is mentioning. So, one way is worshipping doing research on how to worship the Lord. If you look at the Archa Vigraha form, Sachitananda Vigraha form, then you of course have to contemplate on Lord's limbs of the body. His lotus face, his angas, his chest, Kastuvamani, and this Pitampara Vastra. Like when you do deity worship, you have to meditate on the different aspects of worship and how to decorate the Lord. So that is one way of Smaranam. And then concentrating on the activities of thinking, feeling, and willing from so withdrawing from all other subjects and concentrating on the form of the Lord. So Smaranam, it is very intense. So Prabhupada is saying that we have to focus on one particular form of the Lord, and then we have to concentrate continuously on that particular form of the Lord. And this is called Dhruva Smriti. So Dhruva Anusmriti. So every second meditation. And then finally he's saying the last stage is the Samadhi or trance. So this is only possible in these five different ways in terms of one's relationship. So and then Prabhupada elaborates the other aspects of Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam. Uh, so all of these aspects, like Pada Sevanam, one aspect Prabhupada mentions is meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. Um, Generally, when we talk about Padasevanam, we think it's massaging the lotus feet of the Lord, but it comes from subtle to gross. Gross is, of course, massaging the lotus feet of the Lord, but it is more of a meditation or surrender. It's more of a affection towards the Lord, that you want to serve the Lord, to the deepest extent. So that meditation is Prabhupada is explaining as Pada Sevanam. So, and it's also mentioned, Prabhupada says it's also Tadiya Upashanam. So, like visiting, when it also elaborates, the Padasevanam also expands, like seeing the form of the Lord, circumambulating the temple. So, it expands into different services. So, generally, Prabhupada is saying that all of these different aspects of bhakti processes, it is interconnected. So if one goes deep into one aspect of process of bhakti in this nine process, it is all interconnected, and then it will expand. So, and then the archanam is of course after the padasevanam, the deity worship. Prabhupada says it is very important and must for grahastha devotees. And there are many things in the Archanam Prabhupada says, but for a Grahastha, one who is opulent, it is, Prabhupada is saying it's must. And in the Archanam, there are many things like one has to engages family in the worship. So generally, a grahastha, wife, children, husband, together they have to perform this archana paddhati. This is very very important, especially if any grahastha families, they are opulent. In America, I think most of us are opulent. So we should engage our wealth in the deity worship. Otherwise, it's considered an offense, or we cannot utilize this grahastha life without the deity worship. It is very difficult to engage the family in bhakti. So Prabhupada is elaborating on that. So there are many points. Prabhupada says that if one should not actually artificially engage somebody else, like a brahmana, you call them and then you pay them money, and then you engage them in the deity worship at your home. That is actually he is forbidden. So one should engage the family in the deity worship with all his heart and soul, especially for grahastha devotees. And then so in the Archana Paddhati, there are many offenses Prabhupada mentions. There are 32 offenses, and then he elaborates on the offenses, how to. So we should consciously avoid them. And also, if there are any offenses, one should read one chapter of Bhagavad Gita or chant the Vishnu Sahasranam, so to counteract the offenses. And then the Archanam, and then Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So these are 9 processes. So Vandanam, we all know, offering prayers to the Lord. So Lord has unlimited glories, unlimited pastimes. Like in Srimad Bhagavatam, there are many many prayers, Queen Kunti's prayers, and here Prahlad Maharaj prayers. There are many prayers that the Bhagavad devotees praise. So we can follow similar in their footsteps, and we can also offer prayers like Lord Brahma's prayers, Brahma Samhita. So any one of the prayers, even if we choose, and we try to offer those prayers, then we can take the benefit of this process of bhakti. So this prayers is also combined with the deity worship. So it is all interconnected. So so there are many offenses on the offering prayers. Also, Prabhupada elaborates that one should not offer with one hand. One should not show the back to deity. So these are all there are from Shastras. Prabhupada is elaborating. And then the Dashyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So like this, processes are hierarchical, meaning it's in sequential. So from Shravanam Kirtanam, now coming to Dashyam. So you can imagine that coming to the understanding that one is a servant of the eternal servant of the Lord is actually very high platform. So one, after purification of the heart, this state of consciousness that I am an eternal servant of the Lord comes. So this is like the Sambandha Gyan. So Prabhupada says, even if one can contemplate, one can just think, oh, I am actually Gopi Bharta Padaka Dasa Dasanudas. I am just an eternal servant of the Lord. And that contemplation alone gives purification that one can come to this state of bhakti platform. So we can understand that. And then the Sakyam platform, like Sakyam is like just relating with the Lord as a friend. So this is like a Sudama or Arjuna, all of these devotees in a Sakya platform. Sudama is in a Dasha platform. So Arjuna, especially in a Sakya platform. Uh, so coming in this, in the mode of friendship with the Lord is very elevated. Like you can see it's a ninth, eighth process of bhakti. And then finally Atma Nivedanam, Bali Maharaj or Ambarish Maharaj, who have completely surrendered everything at the lotus feet of the Lord. The body, mind and words, completely dedicated everything to the service of the Lord. Is a very high stage. So Other than to serve the Lord and in a mood of surrender, there is no other motivation on this particular stage. So Prabhupada also says Mother Rukmini at Dwaraka, she was also in the state of Atma Nivedana. So she was sometimes exhibiting this behavior of Atma Nivedana. So these 9 processes, now Prahlad Maharaj uh, says this answer, Hiranyakashipu becomes extremely angry and he is questioning his teachers, Sandana Amarka. And he's treating them as like enemies. So now you have become my enemies, you polluted my son. What is this nonsense you thought, So he became extremely angry. So here, one thing that Prabhupada elaborates is, he says that Hiranyakashipu says Asharam. Asharam means there is no any essence in what he is speaking. So Prahlad Maharaj is speaking such in-depth philosophy and truth about life, but for Hiranyakashipu there is no essence. So now Prabhupada is saying that this is the material world that people cannot find any essence in. Bhakti, they completely aversion to that. So now it just expands, and then Hiranyakashipu questions, and then Sanda and Amarka, they also reply. They also become a little bit angry, but they don't exhibit it. They are saying Indra Satru, like, oh enemy of Indra, we didn't say anything, he is naturally devoted to Lord Vishnu. So they say like that. And then the last verse number 22, 28. So it concludes by Sanda and Amarka replying. They are saying it's a spontaneous. So Raganuga Bhakti is naturally remembering the Lord. So they are saying that please don't become angry on us. We are not responsible for this. So Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Sorry I took a little more time. There are a lot of deep dive that Prabhupada does on all this 9 process of bhakti. So I would recommend each of you to read, spend some time, understand these aspects of bhakti. All we are doing is we are trying to practice bhakti by one of these processes, mainly Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Vishnu Smaranam. So we can at least understand how we can progress or understand deeply how we can practice in day-to-day life by not doing some of these offenses and trying to do positive things that can release our bhakti. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Vancha kalpatrubhyasya kripa sindhu bhyo patithanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavibhyo
Vaishnavebhyo.
namo namah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Om, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.